I essentially want to build
Let's see.
a protein that can
Yep.
function similarly, but with another agent introduced, it would break down the subject that it is controlling.
Well, there are a few things that come to your mind. Knowing that this other fungus is a host, funguses are known to take over hive colonies all the time, just like they could a body. With the right instruments, right facility, right time, you might be able to, say, alter said fungus from Earth to become its own biological weapon against the xeno species. Just let another host take it all over and shut it down. Shut the queen down. Infect her. Over time, you think that you could potentially process something that could be used. The question, you do find some data that was sent up here before this was a server house. There's some digging. You do find scientific research files that the scientists from Hadley's Hope were keeping. You see a lot of failed tests, a lot of names, redacted names that clearly died in the scientific search of whatever these creatures are. Deep in the files, you find some information that tells you that this trip was very clearly a failed attempt. When you have a lot of money and a lot of drive and maybe a scientific hypothesis, there are very few things that will stop you from continuing that search even after a fail. What you find is a series of documents that is talking about the next phase. There will be new stations for research opened up. Bigger, better, more secure. You do hear over the comms Ace ask if everybody's okay, Barden ask if everybody's okay, and you hear that the line has been like severed or cut. You maybe have to go down a level or something, and we see you kind of rush down and you look through a porthole window and try to get the angle, and you can see Rin, free space in it. Rin, you nailed the timing, letting go of the magnets on the boots as you push off, and you're headed straight for it. You manage to grab hold of the cable, and you can see about 3/4 of it is severed. It is in your hands, and you are able to get it together. And it kind of sparks and as you push it.
Hey, Ace, there's electricity out here. Can I fix this? Do I have...
I can't talk right now.
What the hell is going on?
There's a fire.
I can put the fire away.
Did Barton start the fire?
No, I didn't start the fire.
Barton, just back up. You're not giving me enough room. Stop it. Just put your eyebrows out.
Point the nozzle at the thing.
No, this is exactly how I was taught to do it in Space 101.
Space 101's not a real class. Give me that. Give me. I taught science.
I've never heard just trust in the younger generation.
Her eyes kind of weakly open for a second, and she sees you first, Vince, and her hand kind of reaches out to grab yours.
I grab her hand.
As you do, you realize there is something in her hand, and she smiles as she sees you, and she kind of weakly goes back to sleep as she releases whatever is jumbled up in her hand into yours. It looks to be a crumpled up picture of a very young Michael Bishop and a David. They stand side by side, arms around each other. You in the med science bay see that the facial recognition is done running to find the woman who left with Shakespeare. A commercial starts to play. It's Gravity time, everybody. It's Gravity time. Come on by to Gravity.
All right, boys, let's go.
Thanks with the help of the computer on Monstro, you're able to set that perfect trajectory. Down, straight to the planet. You break atmosphere. You're used to this by now. Fire. You're lugging this thing behind you. Like a charm. It releases. You kind of scoop up and go back out like you're headed towards space. And behind you, because you're still in atmosphere, you can hear the sound of the ship crashing. The side of Hadley's Hope was not much to begin with. It was kind of left over and run down. Now it is burning. Another second ship in its history that has crashed into it as it begins to burn.
Get my whiskey out, motherfuckers. I'm coming home.
I don't have sound effects tonight. I didn't turn all my shit on.
Arise, minions, and welcome to unMadeGaming. We are here for another episode of Season 3 of our Alien show. This one is called Genesis. This is episode 10, Greener Pastures. And as always, if you like what we do here and you want to support this channel, the best way to do that is over on our Patreon. Link for that down below. Join us at the $5 tier. You get access to the exclusive after show, all of the players' thoughts on their characters and the episodes they've been in, all kinds of cool behind-the-scenes exclusives. While you're down there clicking on that link, join us in the Discord, be a part of the community, be a part of the conversation, talk about this game and all of our other games. And as always, in the bottom right-hand corner, you will see the corruption bar. That bar serves two purposes. One is when that bar fills, Dot continuously tries to kill us with space aliens. And two, every single dollar that goes into that bar goes back to these wonderful, amazing faces that you see here before you. That being said, you've been recapped. There was a previously on. We got the whole story. Dot, take us to see some space druids.
I would like to say, just so everybody knows, so that it has not been deemed a regular thing, Dot has used all the corruption bars. I have none. I'm empty. I spent them all not trying to kill them with xenomorphs, no, but with space. I tried to just kill them with space. It almost happened. It almost worked out, but you know.
I will say she did just spend 10 minutes going through alien Wikipedia pages and looking at zombie aliens and zombie human alien hybrids. So, you know.
You weren't supposed to tell everybody about that rabbit hole. Because that's not happening. I don't want them. I don't want
Unless
no. This crew has no Xenos on board the vessel. In fact, we left them in travel as they were headed across about a week's journey. Where's roll 20? Oh, there it is. Sorry, y'all. What is going on? Here we go. They left headed what we would consider westwardly on the map, or it is also known as rimward. They head rimward. That's very hard to say, for a small kind of outside area that is technically part of the core system, though it's kind of on the outskirts of the galaxy swirl, if you would. It's like on one of the tails. And that area is split between the Crestus Prime cluster, which is part of like the Americas corridor, and you know, the like bits and bobs of the kind of three world empire, which is part of the like Japanese arm of how we move into space, basically. All of that to be said, this territory is, because it's so far out, is relatively used for industrial purposes. So mining, not colonization necessarily. And the travel is a solid 7 days across space. Now, did anybody stay awake, or did everybody cryo? I feel like Kitchen said that Kitchens didn't.
He wasn't going to cryo. No.
Yeah.
Rin cryoed for the first like couple days, and then the rest she came back out. So luckily for me, everybody, my stress and health is healed. I'm fine now. For now. It's temporary.
That is enough days to heal. Yeah, it was like if your stress goes down, your health increases with your rest. Your cryo sleep is 7 days. I don't know how much, or if you're looking for anything in your time, or if you're just manning the ship in a level of normalcy. Kitchens.
I was trying to do some research on funguses. Yes.
We can say that you do. Like you deep dive down the proverbial Wikipedia hole.
Okay.
Second corruption bar. Thank you, chat. You're so kind to me. You dive down the proverbial Wikipedia hole into what you can learn about funguses. And truth, Dot knows a little bit about fungus. But from what might consider practical application. So other than that, I am not a fungus scientist. I don't even know. They probably have it's fine. It's fine.
Practical application.
That being said, what I'll do is say, since you spent the 7 days researching it, the first roll you do need to make that could like pull on that research will give you an extra die. So you basically bank a die.
Okay.
For your time researching it, because you're not in a rush, so there's no need for a roll, or there's like not anything impending. It's 7 days of travel. It's just 7 days of solid fungi research. Kitchen's the fun guy. And yeah, the rest of you.
That joke was a corruption bar.
Yes, well, I disagree. And yeah, the rest of you sleep. Sometimes in cryo, you dream. Sometimes people do not. It's much like a sleep stasis. And what each of you might dream or think about in 7 days of travel through space after everything that you've seen and you've done and it's kind of up to you. But as we arrive, kitchens, there's a whole lot of nothing in your travel from the LV system all the way over here. Let's see if I can actually pin it. This one. Yeah, right here. This system here. Link. To where you're headed is this green one over here. And so the most direct path says that you don't cross anything. It is black, empty space. And then in the distance, and probably after the computer lets you know you're getting close, you can see it. It is larger than an asteroid. I wouldn't call it a planet. Maybe a moon, but it's only a moon if it is orbiting something and there's nothing out here. But the closer you get, the more you realize it's not made of metal or tin or any kind of what feels like sci-fi technology. In fact, it looks like somebody took the skeletal frame of what might once have been some kind of space station and grew a plant from the inside. And every ounce of what is exposed outward has been twisted and gnarled in wood and vine and greenery. From this distance, it's hard to tell, but there's a kind of, the top of it seems to have, much like you'd see a body of water, right, from the orbit of a planet. It's got like a small liquid blue body of water, and there is nothing else out here. What would kitchens like to do? Are you ready to wake everybody?
How long before we arrive there?
Oh, you're within. I mean, you could like calm them now if you wanted to let them know you're very close. I mean, you can see it, right? It's like coming up on the moon. So you have what, 10, 15 minutes to land?
Sure. I will cue to the Geppetto to hail what if this vessel, moon, base, whatever it is, this giant organism.
Here, yeah. I will also take us over. I did put some images together. I will tell you there are a lot of images of this place, and I'll talk in the after show about why that is. But until then, these are reference images. So this is kind of what you see. Oh, wait, did I move y'all? Okay, good, I did. This upper left one is probably what you see coming up on it.
Okay.
Yes, everybody start with your Star Wars jokes. You can see that there are large pieces that are gone. You don't know if there was a battle that left it this way, or if there was damage done, or if they chose to do it that way. It's kind of unsure, kind of wrapped in all of this greenery.
It's not completely operational.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it looks like. It is meant to look probably a bit derelict, if you know, like a derelict freighter. And this is that body of water I was talking about at the top.
Okay, all right.
So there seems to be some kind of literal body of water, kind of at the peak point of the sphere. The rest of it, you can tell, like if you got closer, you would be able to see into lots of areas because it's like open framing. And
Sure.
To your surprise, that shouldn't be possible in space unless they have their own atmosphere.
Then I will personally see to waking the rest of the crew and submit to the Geppetto to alert whatever this is. If it actually, like, if I get a reading, if there's like a call out tag, just submit that the Geppetto is seeking. Is there a dock? I don't even see anything here that looks like a.
That's all very, very good questions. Oh, I did say this. I say you don't see anything. You do see something. Last week I told you this. There are other trash freighters, similar, very, very similar to yours, kind of off in the distance. You can like see them kind of pinned around. You can tell they don't want to get too close because if it has its own atmosphere, it has its probably own gravitational pull.
Sure.
So there's like maybe not that. Maybe it's like, oh, here, let me park this on the moon. You don't really park it on the moon. You fall through the atmosphere until you can land it, if that makes sense.
I gotcha.
So it's big. And And so they're kind of off in the distance. You can see them. So there is some activity here, but to your surprise, all of these freighters are these kind of similar trash freighters to yours. Another hint that you may be fast on the trail of Shakespeare.
Then I'm gonna hold. I'll hold vessel here and ask the Geppetto to slow motion to movement of this thing, whatever this thing happens to have its own gravitational pull, and I will wake the rest of the crew.
Mm-hmm. Boop, 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 badoop. You hold on the call. That's Kitchen's pressing all the buttons to wake y'all.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
The
great.
badoop was-
I saw it
that's
in my
actually
mind's
Paul's
eye. I
signature.
don't,
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
Everybody's got the boot.
That wasn't
for
for
the
me.
badoop. That's
Yeah.
Kitchen's
Yeah.
thing.
That's
Mhm.
the check mark that
yeah.
Yeah.
all life
Yeah,
signs functional.
Just added in season 3, the Badoo.
Yeah, I told you I didn't put here's the thing, y'all. I didn't put any of my sound effects on tonight. Like I didn't set up my whole like sound effects rig, which means we get mouth noises tonight.
I love mouth noises.
I know.
I mean,
I'm
they
sorry.
weren't- they weren't
Tonight's
mouth
a mouth
noises
noise night.
Listen, the Foley work has always been clutch. In fact, I would say that in sometimes our use of voice mod is a downgrade compared to your masterful Foley work.
Yeah.
Dot.
Well, don't tell voice mod that because I'm looking to become affiliated. So
Well, use it for the
Well-
voice, but like the sound effects.
They can take some
That's it,
notes.
yeah.
Is all I'm
They
saying.
can-
Right.
yeah.
What they do is they record you making the noises and then
Making
put them
all
as buttons. Yeah.
wee woo wee woo wee.
I
woo.
want to hit a
Um,
button on my stream deck that goes boop boop be doop.
So what exactly do I do? Like, give me this. Give me. I just for celerity's sake, I want to know what the noises were again.
Do you ever get that feeling that your cast is trolling you?
No.
No.
Suspicious feeling. Maybe it's just all that stress that's setting in.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd feel better if I had more corruption under my belt. Chat.
I mean, they be filling
You're
that
getting
bar.
there.
You
You're
getting it?
there.
All of that to be said. You boop 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 be doop, and you
There it is.
wake the crew. Most of you, like I usually, are past the kind of sickness of it all. But the longer your body is under, the harder it is to kind of wake up and find your footing. And it's a slow process of about 30 minutes while you find your clothes, your digits get back so you can put your socks on and just the usual. The ship readout when you go back, if you do kitchens while they're all kind of getting dressed, shows a kind of a scan of the ship. And basically what it tells you is that this originally was a very particular kind of station. It's known as a V habitation sphere, a class V habitation sphere. And it is just what it sounds like. It was meant to be, or they usually are, habitable locations that are cheaper actually to build than it is to try to terraform a planet that people can't live on. Or if you're mining gases, say, where there is no solid ground on a gas planet, in a way that people can like literally walk on, you can put machinery on, this would be housing for, say, that kind of a thing. And so these were often built. They don't get used quite as much anymore because terraforming has come a long way in the last, say, 100 years. But this was like an old school version of that. Now, that being said, it's very clearly changed over this period of time. It doesn't have a metal exterior and all of that kind of stuff. And you get a kind of readout or like a side view of what it should have looked like basically a blueprint of the multi-layers of this sphere. And it looks a little like this. Kind of tall, almost 100-meter ceilings on certain levels, multiple levels. Kind of the way you would like slice it this way, I guess.
Sure.
And it feels much like you're looking at the inside of like an anthill, right? Small tunnels here, ladders that go there, areas and spaces. This being the original blueprint of what this should have been. What they've actually done to the inside is you don't exactly know, but you can tell that if they repurpose this, there are probably a lot of people living here.
So correct me. What am I seeing this on exactly?
Just a HUD blueprint. Like you
Okay.
asked
All
to
right.
like scan the ship, and so
Sure.
you're not looking for life forms or anything like that. It was just like the scan showed that underneath all of that wood and plant exterior, there once was a V class. And if you look at what the V class is, you kind of get these old
Gotcha.
schematics,
Okay.
basically. It's like schematics.
All right. Then, yeah, I'll kind of keep panning through these schematics and see as much as I can right here. Yes, I did grab your voice when you boopy dooped. So I'll just keep panning over and over just to see what sort of things that I get from that. You just make sure to let me know whenever there are buttons. I have to press buttons now that that I have this voice profile.
Every time.
When Vince gets up, he at some point will join Kitchens by the helm or wherever the bridge, wherever on our ship that he's looking at these blueprints, and we'll kind of stretch out and say, "Oh, we're already here. Okay. Well, remember we're looking for a shop called Gravity Time. Did you were there when that ad popped up? They came back with the face scan, right? Do you remember Kitchens? No.
Vaguely at best.
Don't you have like a
I
perfect
remember. Ace says
Oh, hey.
very clearly, I remember. Back you up.
Kitchens? Don't you have like a perfect memory?
I mean, at times I work better with numbers, remembering minor details, picking up everything just in my surroundings. Not exactly an extreme forte of mine.
Oh. Well, anyway, cool. Well, we're all getting up. I think Barden's old, so he's taking a little bit. But you let me know if I should go check on him.
Barden gets up without any troubles, this young man. And unlike in another space game that Dot ran where I was ridiculed for entering sleep pods in only my underpants, Alien, it's canonically what you wear in sleep pods, Dot. Fucking jerk. And so Barden, who has a yoga mat stashed behind his designated sleep pod, gets up in a pair of white boxers and immediately starts doing yoga to stretch out. It's pretty stiff in the pod there. Take that as you will. And he begins.
Why did you word it that way? It's pretty stiff in the pod.
Piques my interest.
It did something to my insides.
That's what Marilyn said. And he starts to do yoga to limber up and to get ready for these space hippies. And loosen things up and get ready. That's what he's doing. So you hear a lot of grumbles coming from the pod bay.
Anybody else?
Rin's been awake for a while.
Yeah.
She's been off doing her own thing.
Suiting up, no doubt. Like just getting dressed. There a shower probably because your body's also laid there for 7 days.
Yeah.
Probably smell bad and
for
hungry.
3 or 4 days. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
everybody like does the thing. You get ready. You eat your food. If you join Kitchens, you will see out the front exactly what Kitchens saw. Kind of stopped, kind of parked here, if you would, anchored. Yeah. And you see this moon-sized organic space station. It's a lot of quotations in that, sorry.
Vince offers to hail the station, and before he does says, I'm assuming this place is so big there's multiple places to dock, so
I'm not entirely certain of that. As you can see, the other vessels are staying far enough away.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that we'll have to move by a smaller ship, and I'm not seeing an appropriate docking station or even a connection hub.
Right. Well,
maybe they'll respond back.
Time to ask, I guess. And
do you actually send the message that you were putting out, Bub? Or Kitchens was?
I was reading the Geppetto too, but I was focusing more on waking the crew just because I wanted to see their approach. Ren's been a little wild the last week and a half, so who knows? She might like hijack a freighter and tear it right through this motherfucker. I'm not sure.
We wouldn't be surprised.
Knock, knock, Shakespeare.
So he waits to see what well, I mean, Vince, hopefully we see back
Vince
from
will
Barton.
hail the station.
Do you send out a like coded signal, right? Which is just like hailing communications to the, what is it, Arceon station or Arceon? Or do you actually like overcom say words?
I was imagining overcom say words.
What
as
do you
if maybe
say?
there's some sort of, receptionist. That's not the right word. Dock master or something. Vince will
Zach.
say, "Hello, Arceon Station." And then Vince takes his finger off the button and then says to everyone else, "I didn't think this through."
With the
Are we
It's like a
monstro.
radio
The
show.
monstro.
I know. Are we using?
Why did you?
Let me
start a
explain.
radio like it was like a radio station. Why did you do that? Like a smooth,
I was trying to be
smooth jazz
enthusiastic.
98.
Okay?
Okay.
Who wants to hear on the other end from some hello there,
yeah. You sounded like a college radio station.
I am a college radio station.
Oh, all
As
right.
you
well,
as you say that, a very low, kind of slow voice comes through. This is the Archeon station.
One moment. I say to the rest of the crew, do we want to use aliases? Aren't we like wanted by some people? Maybe we should.
We can figure that out in the interim, but we should at least inform them that the monstro is seeking a place to dock, at least even for briefly.
Or, do we want to not say our ship name?
Yeah, no. Watch out, Ren. She
Okay.
Ren cues up.
Please.
We need permission to board. Please.
To enter the station.
Well, a very pregnant pause. This is the Arceon station. What is your business?
We're still trying to figure that out, but y'all
We-
look like a nice group of people with very abundant greenery.
I actually came to try out the gravity. It's gravity time.
Oh, you are here because of our advertisement.
Yeah, it worked.
Please leave all technological devices on board your ship. We will send a shuttle shortly.
Great.
Thank you for visiting the Arceon station. Over.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Now,
All right.
when they say technological, do they also mean
Clothes
people
are
with
technological, Clothes are technology.
anything could be considered technology.
okay, listen. It's a lot.
Exactly.
It's a Luddite
What
colony,
about
not a
weapons,
nudist-
though?
Not a nudist colony.
Have you seen a person from this place? Maybe it is.
No, that's not okay.
All right.
I don't want to see that. Can somebody gouge my eyes out if that's the case, please? Thank you.
Listen. Weapons are technology, computers, anything with Sikhs and whoever. The problem here that I'm seeing, we can easily leave all those things behind, right? That's not a real big problem. The problem I'm seeing is, Kitch, your whole being is technology, my guy.
Well, how would they even know?
Kitchens takes off his watch, puts it down. We're good now.
Kitch, I've literally seen you take your finger off and put it inside of a computer. Like
They don't
some
need to
sort
see
of
that.
data drive.
I'm glad that you went in the direction of putting it inside of a computer and not other places. I am, after all, a physician of sorts.
That's true. It's been in plenty of places, but I figured
Mhm.
one of them is less data oriented than the other. So
That's fairly data oriented.
Perhaps if we roughed him up a little bit and put like some human blood somewhere, that makes him look more human, and then they wouldn't think of him
I
as
think that'd be
non-human.
even
Look,
if you
he just
came
look
in covered in
unclean.
blood into a colony, people would.
No,
Yeah.
not cover. I didn't
No.
say to drench him in the
I'm just saying, kids, don't do any weird science things.
Well,
And
it's
just
like-
be cool.
like
Also,
a
listen,
foe.
Red, I don't know what you did before your martial life here. And Vince, I'm pretty certain about what you've done your entire life because it's been mostly spent side by each with myself here. I think everyone that we just spoke to, which was at least 1 to 2 people, maybe stoned off their ass.
excuse me. What does that mean?
Drugs, the illicit, possibly.
Oh, they're having a chemical
varying-
reaction response.
Yeah. They're high as a kite.
And
I
what
would
if they
say.
aren't?
I don't think anyone naturally speaks that slow unless they are confused by the words that are coming out of their brain to their mouth function, and they have
Or
to.
maybe they're
double
controlled
think
by
them.
somebody.
I thought
Maybe
it
it's
was an automated
brainwashing
thing.
or hypnosis, and then
I mean,
it could
when
be
you-
any number of
when
things.
you
This
hear-
could be a
when-
trap.
When you
There
hear
could
hooves,
be.
you think horses, not
Oh,
zebras. and
guys,
assume
the shuttle's here.
space
The
hippies are
shuttle's
high.
here. We gotta go.
All right, well,
Kitchens is first.
kids, if you
All
bring
I'm
drugs, they'll probably buy
saying-
them from you.
Okay, hold on. Would we consider an edged blade a technology?
Why don't we could just see what they let us on with,
I
or if
think
they make
just
a big
leave
deal.
all your weapons behind. And don't
Can
try
I
to stab
have
the
one of your
space
scalpels,
hippies.
please? Just a scalpel, please.
I work in rocks.
Is that okay? Can I have one?
Boris.
Can you have,
I,
you have one to
I
spare?
don't see why that would be a problem.
Okay, great. And she just slips it into her sleeve.
Ren is freaking out. We're like, leave all the weapons behind.
Mhm.
What if they search you?
Yeah.
And I
Vince
guess-
will actually.
Problems will happen when they search me. I guess.
Vince is going to try to bring a backpack with like still his whole inventory. Like he's wearing a watch. He has the Siegson SDD that helps him with Comtech. He's got his tape recorder, data transmitter cards. He's just going to try to bring all of it, see what happens.
Okay. Do you let them dock to there's like a small shuttle. It probably holds 10 or 12 people at a time, like a bus. It's like a space bus. And because it's cute, it looks like a little space VW pod. And it comes tooting up all hippie style and parks alongside this huge freighter. And as the door slides open, you see that it's kind of really bright lights on the inside, the way kind of a medical, like a kind of sterile medical facility is. So there are no shadows anywhere. And it casts their bodies kind of in silhouette. You can see they wear long robes. The sleeves aren't like wide or anything. They're nice and tight, but it's, tight vestments around the body, but long. And they have these kind of hoods over their heads. They're very humanoid, very average in size. And one of them steps forward.
Sound like cultists.
He steps forward and he is what most people would consider a pretty average man. Dark hair, some facial hair, not well trimmed, well groomed. He's not, grungy by any sense of the terms. And his robes are actually kind of a dark gray color. And he smiles at all of you, this kind of warm, genuine, welcoming smile.
Excuse me, space monk. I don't understand the actual religious title you have, so please excuse me if that was insensitive. I'm not sure what your practices here are on this space station, but do you imbibe in illicit substances vis-a-vis drugs?
He takes that in. And he smiles and thinks through exactly what he wants to say. And he introduces himself first. And he says, everyone on Station Archon calls me Brother Timaeus. I did that for you, Mike.
Thanks,
Calls
buddy.
me Brother Timaeus. And he says, you may also call me Brother Timaeus. We're excited to welcome you aboard our station. It seems that you are new here. Are there any questions I can answer for you?
Just the one I previously asked moments ago.
We are a free state. We believe that everyone gets to choose what they do with their bodies on their own.
Yes,
Awesome.
let's get the big bag.
Do you have a medical facility?
We have many medical facilities.
I'm assuming that there is some sort of reserves for holistics, natural medicine, things of that nature.
All of our medicine is entirely natural. We have spent many decades refining the art of healing the human body.
Are we capable of purchasing reagents and other things that we may need.
Of course, we have a very large selection of items for purchase, as well as fresh vegetables, plants, medicines.
Are you like a leader or just
He
the guy
almost
on the
he
shuttle?
laughs as if he's probably not supposed to, and he covers it up. There's like a smile. He says, "No, I am just one of the many brothers and sisters."
Is everyone from the station a brother or sister?
Of course not. Those of us who choose to dedicate our lives to keeping this planet alive, give ourselves to the order, the
Does he-
monastic order of Archeon.
Oh. Well, I just came for gravity time, so I'm ready to go.
One of our best shops.
And Vince tries to enter the shuttle.
Is there perhaps like a pamphlet or map guide?
Of course, we'll provide you with everything you need once we're on board, but I can tell you there are many different districts. It is a very large place that we call home. And he says, "Excuse me, we have to assure that there's no technology brought from your vessel onto ours. It is part of our shared understanding."
Right. Yeah, we were kind of confused about that because technology is a pretty broad term. So what can't we bring on?
Anything that's considered modern technology.
That's
Weapons of blade and steel are often crafted on board, though we are a pacifist society.
Well, who's your law keeper?
We have no need for law.
Are you telling me
At
there's
least not in
absolutely
the-
no crime on your station?
Yes.
Okay.
what about something like this? And I just hold up my wristwatch.
He almost shies away from it in a way that makes you feel like he's not looked at a watch in a very long time. And he almost shields his eyes like one might with a welding arc. And he says, "I do not tell time by technology. We have our own means of telling time."
But is it acceptable for me to bring it with me?
No.
Got it. So I turn back to everyone else and say, yeah, it's pretty much nothing.
Okay.
And Vince walks back in to empty out his bag.
What about glasses, spectacles, things that may allow us to see in a better
We do
foray?
not consider this modern technology.
But you
Spectacles have been around as long as humans have, all the way back into the ancient days of Earth.
still have blades, but those are forbidden.
No, those are fully welcome. We craft them on board.
Oh, my misunderstanding then. Good to know. Thank you.
Yes.
Please feel free to search.
He says, "As much as I would like to, we believe in a system of trust. Those who break our vow of safe space will quickly find that they are no longer welcome." on our
Question. What if some member of our crew happened to have an assisted medical living device, such as a pacemaker?
My first question would be, why are you coming to a place that does not rely on technology? Why bring a friend who relies so heavily upon it?
Your ad
Unless you are
invited
here
us.
to have us, unless you're here to have us heal you.
If that's available, we're open to the idea there and of.
Do you have a friend on a pacemaker?
In this case, it's a lot less of a pacemaker for the heart and something lower in abdomen. And he slowly turns to Barden.
Oh, I see. We have a special section of our medical facility that is dedicated to the human sex and fertility.
Very good. Thank you.
Great.
No matter how big or small the problem.
It's big enough.
Just hear from down the hall as Vince is emptying out his bag. He's just like, ha! And just keeps emptying out his bag.
Let's go.
Okay.
On board.
I'm
So,
I'm
For blatant clarity's sake,
fresh.
Dot will tell you things like watches, mech welders, torches, guns, advanced armor, things that would have to be crafted by machines. If it has ever touched a Wayland Yutani hand, it's definitely not allowed on board.
So Rin goes on naked, clearly.
I mean, I imagine there are like jumpsuits and stuff.
Yeah,
you wear
that's all
underneath,
she's
you know?
got. Yeah.
But you can see that like they don't really. He's wearing the bare minimum shoes. Like he's traveling in space and he's got on basically sandals. So
This is the anti-Rin station. Rin is on board, sitting down.
What if we do want to try to sneak something on? How would that go down mechanically?
oh, okay. You do want to try to sneak something on. Well, he told you they do not look violent. They wouldn't even pat you down, which probably tells you that they're not going to attack you. They
Okay.
are not going to attack you. They do have some strict policies on board, but you can try to sneak something on. I would definitely have to have a roll. See, it's not. I would take a mobility check because it's like hiding it. You're basically like trying to tuck it away where they don't see it, or I'll take a survival check if you want to be like, where can I hide it where they won't find it?
Okay.
What are you sneaking on?
I would like to tuck away just by my belt, I guess, since they're not going to pat us down. I'll bring my M4A3 service pistol. And my Seegson tape recorder.
Okay, well, the good news is your tape recorder is technically considered old tech. It's ancient technology because
Okay.
it's from the 1980s, and technically we're in 2097.
Okay.
So it's like 300 years old.
Awesome.
You know, like if y'all were riding in on a Harley, they'd be like, "Oh, look at that old tech," right? They very clearly have a stance against.
Oh, but a
things that have been-
watch is not.
But that watch has
old.
been created probably by Seegson. It's a Seegson
Yeah.
watch.
Yeah,
So it's been
Samani
created by
users.
like, right. So it's been created by like high-end technology. It uses, you know, all kinds of high-tech metals and all kinds of stuff. This is not like, oh, look, I've got some tiny screws in the back of this and I like wind it. It's probably like a digital watch. It's
Okay.
tied to a Seegson or Wayland Yutani computer that tells time, which is why he doesn't look at it.
Got
So
it.
you're gonna sneak on your watch at a pistol.
And do they seem to make a big deal about a high beam flashlight?
I mean, yes, because it's not going to anymore be the same kind of battery powered flashlight. But yes, they would probably make a big deal of a flashlight. But
Okay.
you could, again, what you choose to sneak on is up to you. He's not going to stop
Yeah.
you. He's not going to pat you down. What the repercussions are of doing such things, well, I have corruption laws for that.
Okay.
I will say, just so you are aware, Zach, the high beam flashlight is not like what you think of a flashlight. It's those big ones that have the big fucking battery
Oh.
case. That's like a
Okay.
floodlight that
Yeah.
they
Never
have
mind.
like when they explore derelict ships and stuff. They're
Got it.
pretty chunky.
Okay. I will just do the pistol and the tape recorder.
Okay.
And I'll do mobility if that's still an option.
Yeah, absolutely. You can try
Okay.
mobility check. Mobility is going to be to do it without them seeing you do
Mhm.
it, if that makes sense.
Okay.
We may make some rolls when we get there, but yeah.
All right.
Yeah, this
Question
is
before we leave.
Uh-huh.
How do we pay for things? If we've been operating with credits, they don't have a functional credit system on this vessel, is my guess.
He turns and he looks at you and he says, most of our tenants barter, but we are a functioning society that believes that everyone deserves to eat and have shelter. So it is a non-commercialized society, if that is what you are asking. If you need something, the community makes sure you has it.
Okay. Thank you.
I rolled and got 3 successes.
Oh, that's very good. Yes, you get both items sneakily hidden in your belt. With the additional +1 or the additional success, what would you like? Would you like to like bank a, what is it? What can you do? Let's find out. Because this is, I'm wanting to add more of these kinds of things since your rolls are getting higher. I need to make sure you're actually getting the extra bits.
Yeah.
That was a mobility check. So you can later on, you can give a 6 to someone else that's in a similar situation. So in this case would be hiding illegal items to go on board. You can add a +1 to a later mobility check. Maybe related. I wouldn't say it's probably still related to this thing, or you can impress someone.
As much as I'd like to impress Ace, I will save this for it. I'll actually save it to be a 6 for a future illegal smuggling roll.
So you want a +1, or you give a 6 to somebody else that's also doing.
If I give a 6 to someone else, do they have to use it now, or could this be something like we bank
no,
while we're at the station or something?
They could bank the 6, but it has to do with them smuggling on or smuggling off illegal goods. Does that make sense?
I'll
like
do
it has
that.
to. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Cool. Do you want to just bank it and see who needs it?
If I could, yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Great.
Done. There's a 6 out there for one of you if you decide that you too want to bring on and or take off something you shouldn't. You get on board. This is very clearly an older vessel. It is clearly technology, like they still have to exist in space. But the insides have been gutted to some degree. You can tell it's very simple. They run like new light boards across it, and the seats in it are bare minimum, like hard plastic seats. These 2 monks get in you can see them all the way to the front. It's just built just like a bus. And they shuttle you over. As you get close, you can see it a whole lot better. You can tell that there are massive chunks of it missing like this, that much of the structure has been revaulted to look like what we would know as like an old school cathedral, these kind of vaulted pieces like this. The top of it becomes ever more clear to you. It is, in fact, some kind of water purification system. And since it sits at the top, you imagine that it has that kind of trickle down reservoir effect, that it serves everybody on board. But again, it is clearly has its own atmosphere because the water is not going anywhere. And as you get close, the vessel does kind of hit atmosphere. You can feel it as you kind of come in, and it pulls into a docking system that is up here. Actually, no, it's going to be, see this kind of core area, how you can fly into it. That seems that they have hollowed out a lot of that. And as you pull into park, you can see that the center of it, which is massive this close, but even coming in, you can see that it has been roots and lumber and vines and things kind of structure the center pillar of this whole big thing. More than likely growing out of this point here. You're not entirely sure, but you can tell like the centralized kind of structural beam is all now densely packed with growth. And as you pull in, you can see the vines and roots kind of pull out and into the docking area. And there are brothers and sisters dressed in the exact same kind of gray robe, kind of rigid hood, bustling about, doing their day to day. But there are also other people that look just like all of you. Jumpsuits, simple clothing, handmade clothing, new handmade clothing, no technology, other than the kind of light sticks that this guy is using to like help you get in to the bay and telling you where to park. But that's really it. There's no station that somebody's working to like lock down the feet of your vessel or any of that. All of that is like long gone. And as the door kind of opens up and the gangway pans down at that angle, you hear it as it touches. And instead of that usual sound of the steel walk path hitting a steel floor, it hits wood.
This place is trippy, but I kind of like it.
Mr. Timmy, brother Timmy. Sorry, I apologize. I do have a question for you. You guys seem like you would be on board. With all kinds of holistic medications and wellness practices, as you said to my friend Kitchens here. Don't worry about his name. It's just a nickname. It's a crude thing. You wouldn't get it. Do you have anyone who specializes in the ancient sacred practice of yoga? I feel like my sacral chakra is been blocked for years now, and I would like to see a specialist about that. Perhaps maybe a Reiki massage, if that is in the works here. I'm not sure what in fact you practice here, but yeah, I would be very interested in. Kitchens can come along for some something. I don't know.
Is
He'll
his
watch. He's
sacred
into
chakra
watching.
also blocked?
Oh no, I've
No,
been practicing medicine on Barden here for many years.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
right. He needs, well, he needs probably a few masseuses, many massages. I need to take notes. I also need to make sure that the exploration of his body is not for anything more than science purposes.
Yeah. I think the energy flow in my body is blocked in my sacral chakra.
Very much so.
Yeah.
I can promise you that a blockage in your sacral chakra is not a good thing.
Oh,
We do
I know.
have
Tell me about it.
multiple locations where you can practice the art of yoga, along with many other forms of stretching, physical activity, and martial arts.
Right.
If you would like a personal massage, we do have a parlor on board, one of our, say, maybe the system's best masseuse.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
What makes them the best?
Pretty big system out here.
Well, I can tell you the worst that she's seen has not been him.
You haven't seen? We'll discover.
And
We'll see about that.
he's a little concerned about that. He says, but trust me, Sister Agatha, she has been doing this for many years. In fact, since its genesis, really. He means the station.
How long has Arceon been existing in its genesis, as you were, Timaeus?
The order of the monks has been around much longer than the station itself. Some thought this was to be that order's final resting place. I guess you could say that they were sent here to die.
And how long was that?
Roughly about 70 years ago. Many of the original monks have long passed us, but they passed down their ways through their strong faith, knowledge, and firm understanding of what it means to actually be an empathetic community.
And Sister Agatha has been here for 70 years.
He smiles. Yes.
Interesting. She probably knows many of the people here then.
She knows many, yes. She knows many things as well.
Can you direct me to gravity time?
He says, of course, you'll want to head to deck 4. This is where our shopping district is, if you can use the term shopping. You'll find the station there in the main plaza.
Great. Well, thank you for this awesome experience of docking on your station.
Oh, one more thing, Timaeus. I saw plenty of garbage vessels.
His eyes kind of cut to the guy next to him who has not said a word. And he says, yes, of course.
But, do they dump here?
Not exactly.
You've piqued my interest. Can you elaborate at all?
Unfortunately, the waste disposal process is not part of my everyday activity. I know very little about it, in fact.
and your friend?
He is also just a pilot and part of our hospitality committee.
Might Agatha know then?
I imagine Agatha does know. She knows many things.
Can I something feels a little off here? Can I say he seems a little cagey? Can I make a? I don't know.
Yeah. Go ahead.
What should I be rolling for
you
this?
can make a, what is that, manipulation to read people? Is that what's on there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any day now. 3 successes.
He is being a little cagey, not because he's really hiding anything from you. He probably doesn't know a whole lot about them. He clearly knows that they are important. It's not like ooh, big secret. It's more like that's above his pay grade. Even though he's not paid. You know what I mean? It's like that's above what he is stationed to do. They clearly are important. That is of no doubt to you whatsoever. The guy next to him is probably in a vow of silence.
Got it. Okay.
Right. That is the easiest thing. It's not like he's like choosing not to talk to you. Or he's trying to stay bottled up. Like he might be in the middle of one of his vows of silence through.
Yeah.
Because he's younger, right? He's clearly following and learning the next trade. It's probably a trade station in that regard. Like you learn pass down your knowledge. Agatha, though, as he talks about Agatha, she is old. She has been here since the beginning. She probably does know a lot of stuff. And the way he was talking about her being able to fix whatever ails Barden means that she's probably been a healer a really, really long time. The vibe you get is good luck trying to get her to tell you. She knows. But the vibe you get from just a little quake at the end of his voice is like, good luck.
Fair. Thank you.
Brother Timmy's, quick question. Is there like restricted areas where we should not go, not to like accidentally stumble? I planned on just kind of wandering, sometimes just see where my mind and soul takes me. So like avoiding particular
An astute
areas.
and very polite question. We do have one area of Archeon that is off limits. We tell all guests that because it is a delicate balance we reside in with our own atmosphere and the function of our lovely little home, the room that houses the technology, we call it the technology room, that maintains our atmosphere is off limits to everyone on board except those that are qualified to maintain it.
Okay. And which direction should I avoid walking to not accidentally stumble upon that?
Trust me, you'll know when you get there, but it is at the core center of our entire station. And he kind of actually points straight ahead because literally through what is probably like mass dense walls of like wood, vine, buildup of foliage and stuff that's kind of densely packed here, that would be the kind of centralized core of all of this. And he says, other than that, we encourage you to explore what we have done. It is nothing that we have to hide, and we're very proud. But
very
not
impressive.
He says, thank you. Though I am to credit for none of it. He says, be proud, but also be humble. And he says that to his friend. Oh, Corruption Bar 3, y'all really want me to fuck them up tonight. So, and then he says, but if your feet tend to wander, as many often do, I encourage you to visit our gardens. They are open to all and may help you, I don't know, find a new path, one that doesn't require as much wandering.
That is very good advice. I perhaps will do that.
He says, I must go. It is time for me to check in and assure them that the new visitors have arrived. And he says, I have a question now, if it is not a burden.
Sure.
I always like to know where our new visitors are from. What brings you all the way out here?
Well, I'm the wanderer, so I'm not really sure just yet how to answer that question because I'm not really from anywhere. Just Never really had a home per se.
see.
Same.
I
I'm
guess
looking
that's how
to
we all
restock.
kind of came together, is that we never really had a belonging anywhere.
I'm looking to restock some medicines. Also doing some light studies on mycelium bases, mushrooms, that sort of thing.
Oh, then you too will find the gardens most interesting. Though if you truly want to get into it, our division that studies and researches medicine, funguses, and other plants and animals that might alter the mind, you'll find them just a floor up from the gardens, that is.
Noted. I'll be heading there first.
He says, but I want to make sure I understand. None of you have a home, but where did you get your freighter?
That's a very long story, actually.
Quite complicated.
A very funny one. Well, no. The origins of it, the
I mean,
genesis was not funny.
You could just simplify it and say that a friend of ours gave it to us.
Well, it was a tragedy that fell upon everybody, and then we, found a way out of it. The freighter was inherited. It was like a long inheritance, so to speak.
Ah, I see. And all of you travel together frequently, or is this simply a delivery point?
We live on the
On and
station.
off for the last several years.
I very,
This is-
very rarely leave. I'm an introvert of sorts.
He says,
That's
so
true.
you're all wanderers.
Yeah.
Who travel together frequently and share a ship. Does your vessel have a name?
The Monstro.
Interesting. Do you read many books?
I've read many books, yes. Had a lot of
You
time to
might
read
want to
many
visit
books.
our library then.
I think I might.
It is one of my favorite places. And he looks at Rin and he says, do not count yourself so short, wanderer. It seems like you have both a family and a home.
Thank you.
He says, come. And he looks to the young kid that's been following him around, and they kind of pitter off. And he says, have fun. Life is too short.
Too long, if you ask me. Jeez.
Thanks.
I think Bro Tim's sweet.
You know, guys, I don't want to
He's a little.
I don't want to
weird for
jump
me.
the proverbial gun here, but this could be a good place to retire to. I think I could get used to this.
You want to become a brother, Barden? Brother
Well, I
Barden.
mean, I could be Brother Barton. That's fine. I don't have any.
Robot.
I don't think you're capable of keeping a vow of silence. I'm just going to put that out there.
Well, I
Vow
mean,
of anything.
You know, I'm of a venerated age. I may not have to. I could maybe be able to skip past a few.
Yeah, you think they're
levels
going to
of,
grandfather you
of
into the
the-
next level?
Yeah, typically, yeah, that's going to be how it works.
Mhm.
Plus, I'm already a master yogi, and I have things I can contribute to, and I'm
Right.
also a geologist as opposed to someone who just points guns and shoots people.
I don't
So,
know if
I
they
mean-
do a lot of rock sledding up
Excuse
here.
me, but this person just pointing guns, shooting people has
Well,
saved your life on numerous occasions.
Barton,
So I would
please,
just like to put
Kitchen,
that out there.
I will say they may not have to study rocks in the sense that I did, but soil and the like to grow their greenery, and that are things that I could possibly help with, nitrogen levels and the.
I could,
it's a
I could
whole
learn how to dig
complicated
in dirt
thing
too.
to
It's not
cultivate.
that hard.
It's a little
You
bit
didn't
more
really
than
strike me as
digging
someone who's
dirt.
interested that much in carrots and eggplants and the sort, but I suppose if that is the nature of how you would like to live out your glory years, then by all means.
Yeah, maybe. I was, it was a pretty good time in the colony teaching science class. The young Vince over here, me
Oh,
and Mel,
God.
perhaps Agatha's a good.
Interestingly enough,
placement here.
Vince seemed to loathe it. That's why he was constantly building cars.
Yes.
I see them.
Strange. He was one of my best students in
Yeah.
that class. So
Well,
attentive, solid grades.
So, do we want to split up? I mean, it should go without saying really why we're here. I mean, it's obviously turned out to be a lot more interesting than we initially thought, but
historically, when we split, it leads to more tragedy. If we split, I recommend going in pairs.
I don't mind just going all together. I mean, I do want to see the place too. So
I
maybe
don't
The
recommend you
man
seeing
said
this-
there was no crime here. What could possibly be tragic about that?
Have you seen Barton's prostate?
I don't want to. And I don't even want to
Why?
think
what does
about
that have to do with anything?
Well, where do you think his sacral chakra is nested?
Okay.
It's true.
How about
I'll
this?
just
Way around your groin.
Be in the
Ah.
waiting room. Yeah.
Because, okay, Never mind.
I'm sorry, Vincent. I do apologize.
completely threw me
I
off.
might have been half listening when you were giving your spiel on the ship. But I thought you had been watching some of Kitchens' anime, and I thought this was a Hot Springs episode, sort of thing. Are we here for an actual
Yeah.
scientific purpose? I wasn't paying attention.
Oh,
What's
Okay.
happening? Why
This
was-
is
I
isn't a
thought this was like a,
episode.
like a
We
vacation.
think-
There's like
is-
2 objectives here,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Exactly.
I wasn't.
Our
I was on.
only-
I was
our
on a
only
different
lead-
ship with Ace doing the other things. I wasn't paying
It's
attention.
fine. It's fine.
We're looking for Shakespeare,
Yes.
and
Good,
I'm
good.
looking for cordyceps mushrooms.
Okay.
Yes.
So we need to at least, yes, I agree, split
We need to
into
diverge.
pairs. So
Got it.
me
That
and
guy is
Vince
shrooms.
will go and find named individual, while y'all do the botany thing.
The bonding thing. Is that what you said?
Botany.
Botany.
Botany. Got it.
Botany.
Ace, Ace,
I'm
where should I
sorry.
go? Where should I go?
Oh shit! You just crept up on me, kid.
Oh, that's right. You can go with Vince, and I will go not to the restricted area.
Oh,
That
Well,
sounds
I just
Alone?
said I wasn't going
Vince.
to go.
absolutely.
Vince,
gotta
why
go
don't-
there.
Why don't you take Ace and try to find our targeted individual?
yeah.
Yes.
But yep.
And
Yeah. I mean, Ace is
I'll
the
make sure
perfect
nothing
person to
else
do that.
sketchy's going on.
Yeah, Vince is the perfect person to do that.
Ren,
We're
I
both
have
the
to say,
perfect person.
He-
Perfect. Perfect.
you paid quite a lot of attention, specifically to the Monstro. I did ask for the name. There are a lot of vessels out there. He asked how we acquired it. There's a strong chance that they are going to attempt to reacquire that, take back their possession, especially if it still matches the space variant of a Vin, if you will. So strong chance that we may end up losing our home.
I don't think that he had malicious intent.
I don't trust many things on the surface at this point.
Who
How
knows?
did you become more skeptical than me?
Maybe Shakespeare was like the king of this place. And once they know who we are, we're almost like I don't know much about old Earth religions, but maybe we're
It-
like the priests.
Did anyone forget that we're dragging Shakespeare's old house?
Oh, yeah.
There's
Well,
no way that there's not some
it's
sort
hidden-
of
it's
homing
hidden
beacon
behind
of
the ship.
sorts.
No, that's fine.
If he's alive, he knows.
Let me see what I can dig up. Meet back at this junction and say, how long do you need to release your chakra, Barton?
I would not be able to tell you. I've been trying to get my chakras in alignment for many months now at this point in time, basically since we left the colony. So perhaps Sister Agatha knows it better
2
than I
hours.
did.
2 hours, is
Okay,
that
that's
two-
true? Yeah, yeah.
In
yeah.
2 hours, we'll
Yeah.
meet right back here.
Yeah.
If any of us fail to show up, then we need to be on high alert. I will cause a scene if any of y'all are missing in 2 hours.
Okay. And so, Rin, you're trying to go to the core.
I said I was not going to. No, I'm not going to any restricted
Okay.
areas. She's
Got
saying
it.
excessively
And then-
loud.
You guys are going to get a massage. Got it. Okay. All right, Ace, ready?
Enjoy your massage.
It's not really a massage. It's realigning the energy. It's Reiki.
I don't care.
All right, that's fine. You could.
Well, Barton,
stand to
let's go
learn
get you
something.
blasted.
That's not appropriate either. Their kitchens. All right, let's go. Ridiculous.
Okay.
Young people.
So my understanding is Barton is going to have his chakras realigned.
We're gonna hit.
Incredibly
We're-
important.
We're gonna hit the biome, the farm, so we can get the mushrooms first, just in case things go tits up with Sister Agatha.
I mean, that's the
Hey.
plan.
Okay. Barton's going to get his chakras realigned. Rin is going to investigate the thing they were absolutely told not to investigate. I'm going to give you the 6 because this fits in with being told not to do something you're going to do. We've been sitting
Cool.
on it. Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Okay. And then the other 3 of you, Ace included, so that Kitchens, Ace, and Vince are going to go see the farms, the like greenery, and
I was thinking Kitchens is with Barton.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna hit the
Okay.
farm, then test
Okay.
Sister Agatha.
okay, and y'all are going to look for Shakespeare.
Yeah, just me
Great.
and Ace. By heading
Okay.
to the gravity place.
So there is a little bit of like a sign, right? There's like a a painted giant wall. I hate to call it a mural. It's more like a diagram of your mall map, if you would, of like where everything's at. Very much that same kind of half view, if you would. And there's like a you are here in the kind of centralized cortex or central docking. You can see, in addition, just so there's no questions from anybody and I don't have to go over it again, on board there is a abbey, very clearly, and the school like attached to the abbey where they train the brothers and the sisters. There are libraries, mess halls, communal lavatories. There's a glassworks on board, as well as an entire floor of nothing but open fields for farming, which is then attached to the gardens, right? Which is a more kind of public space. You can see it also list, there's a sheep farm on board. There is a lake as well as the reservoir. Which they call the sea. The reservoir they call the sea. And then, yeah, like this medical facility where you're going to get all of your stuff. And of course, the shopping district, which is part of kind of communal living. Because it's not really a commercialized space. It's more like everybody has stalls and they offer you the thing they have and that's it. Okay. Does anybody want to go first as the party splits?
Sure.
Okay. So you're headed to the farms, the gardens.
Yes.
The farms themselves are kind of behind like glass, if you would. But you can tell it's like decorated, much the way you'd see stained glass. It's kind of painted, but there's a glassworks on board. So a lot of this glass is done on board the ship and has been added in secondarily to a lot of the arches and things that now restructure and have rebuilt the internal kind of space of this space station. On the other side is a vast field that you cannot see the end of. It actually arches, right? The horizon line. You can see a horizon line as it arches and the fields keep going. There are brothers and sisters all over the place in their gray robes, picking, tending the farm. Everything here seems relatively normal.
Good. That's great news.
I'll just take a quick observation check. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Kitchens, I gotta ask you, I've been really interested in funguses lately. What are you trying to do here? Are you trying to make a new drug? Are you trying to experiment with some hallucinogenics here? What's on your mind, buddy?
Well, I did some studying. I've worked with medicines for a while. I've also tried to understand how organisms function naturally in the wild. We're looking at species, the likes of which function at a level greater than most of humankind can. And I needed to discover something that would potentially eradicate them. I liken a lot of their kind to a souped up version of an ant. You'd probably see why.
Okay, I can get that. That makes sense. That makes sense.
They're
And
colony based, right?
Yeah, like a hive based.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So while you were down, I looked up some information regarding what large means of handling ant colonies may be, or other similar hive-like structures. And I discovered the cordyceps mushrooms. The name of it is the Ophiocordyceps unilateralis. They have one particular goal in mind. They called it many years in the past a zombie mushroom. And the reason for doing this is that it's a parasitic spore that releases itself and attaches to an organism, and it basically eats its way inside, controlling the directive of that host before inevitably leading it to a point of death. It then sprouts from its body. It creates a horn-like apparatus that releases more of these spores into their environment, thus infecting more hosts. I would like to find a way to introduce something similar to this into this superspecies in their environment. And I think that with some of the medical tech that we have, some of the science that's been done in the past, we might be able to hack the gene.
Okay. Okay. Um, the one question I have for you based on this is, how do you plan to get around the acidic innards? The blood is made of acid, right? So I assume some level of internal workings must also contain some level of acidic nature. Um, uh, how would your
This is the challenge.
spores? Right. Okay. Okay. I wasn't sure if you had planned that far ahead. Okay. Very interesting. Yeah, I'm on board. I'll help. I'll help. And I will not be partaking in any sort of zombie mushroom scenario. I am a little bit familiar with some strains of the cordyceps mushroom. They're used for like health benefits of like anti-aging and the like. Holistic medicines.
Sure.
You know.
Sure, there are
something
many species of the cordyceps,
Right.
But not all of them are going to affect our target the same way. We just need it to just penetrate the exoskeleton and let it slowly begin working its way over the exoskeleton, just at a subdermal level, not a way that it's going to bleed into its bloodline, at least yet. But it can't just be blood all the way over. It's going to have a means of working around it, just like a traditional fungus. Fungus finds a pattern. It finds it can move in acreage horizontally or vertically, and it will move in such a pattern.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on board. I'll help. I'll help with this. I mean, genetics, genetic engineering, and gene splicing is not really my forte, but you learn a lot when you're dealing with all kinds of shit. And I'm a xenobiologist now, so I'll take a crack at it.
I wouldn't see this working without you, to be honest.
Great. Glad we're on the same page, buddy. All right, let's go look for your zombies.
Okay, then we move forward. We start
Yeah.
approaching the gardens, seeing if there's anyone
yeah.
that might look like a figurehead or someone who's kind of leading, guiding them.
There's some gardeners still dressed, men and women, and they're kind of tending the gardens. The rest of everybody in here are here, and it's a big gardens. Think botanical gardens, like exotic plants. There are insects. There might even be a few birds and small critters like squirrels or something like it. Kids, well, no, incorrect. There's like a couple having like a picnic. There's a woman reading a book out in the open. Actually, quite a few people are reading books out in the open. This seems like, and you can see way kind of off in the distance, farther down, the reservoir from above or below, technically, I guess, depending on its rotation, is pouring like a waterfall down. And there's like a small koi pond or like pool at one end. You can feel the moisture in the air. You can smell how fresh it is. All the air in here is just delightfully fresh and unaffected. It's not like all that fake atmosphere that you breathe on ships, right, where it's just like recycled and pumped back out with the so this is like the trees are making fresh atmosphere.
Okay, that's a fairly rare occurrence. I don't think that's anything that I've seen outside of pictures or even animation,
right? Because most of the time, even when you land on a planet, it's not breathable atmosphere, and then they terraform it, and you're still living in these domes where they're pumping in. Right. You're not, unless you have ever visited Earth, which I don't think you have. And
No.
Earth today is very different than it was. This may be the cleanest, purest oxygen that you've ever breathed. Even as an artificial person,
Just watch Barden to see how he responds to this.
Barden just sort of looks around. I mean, he's seen trees. He's seen other sites like this, right? Like he was a geologist in space, sure, but like there's no rocks just randomly in space. Like you have to be planet side to do geology of the kind that he was doing. So previous assignments had planets that had trees. So it may have been like 20 or 30 years since he's last seen one. But he's not like in awe of never seeing a tree before. He's just kind of like looking around, more in awe of the people reading books. It's something you just haven't seen in like I don't know, the last like 80 years is an actual physical book. Everyone has like data chits or a screen reader or something like that. So it's not often that you would see someone just casually reading a book.
Right,
Yeah,
they're
he's just kind of
writing, not typing.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
there's
yeah.
like scribbling, like some young soon-to-be brother is like scribbling notes from homework or something,
Yeah,
and
like
he's got a book open.
simple Luddite practices of like just not using a tablet is like oh how quaint, right? It's like
Yeah.
it's like if we go to like the Amish and we're just like, oh look at you
Oh,
doing that by
look, you pulled
hand.
your horse and buggy up to
Yeah.
Walmart. Yeah.
It's something he's seen before, but like not in like since his childhood. So yeah, it's all rather quaint to him as he like looks around at people just living a happy, mundane, technology-free life. Is there someone that we ask here, buddy, for your thing?
I'm trying to find someone that might look like an authority figure in this way. Maybe we're in the wrong place.
You know what, Kitchens? I got this one. Hold on. And he's just gonna randomly walk up to anyone.
Yeah, there's like a lady, she's watering and like tending these orchids in this like one area under this beautiful tree that has kind of lavender blooming on it. And she's talking to them and she says, "Are you happy today? So happy today." And she's kind of watering the plants and talking them up, and she
God,
says,
is this just
"Oh,
you? Is this you?
no, are you joking? Dot has like the grayest thumb ever. I can't grow anything. The last time I owned a plant, it was a cactus and my cat ate it and I had to take her to the vet. So that's the last time I owned a real plant."
Love that for you. Yeah, Barden just sort of like crouches, knees cracking, over to this woman and says, "Excuse me, excuse me, dear. I don't want to interrupt you. Speaking life into your plants here, but I am new here on the station. My friend,
Welcome.
thank you. It's very nice so far. I'm thinking about possibly retiring here, but I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. My friend and I are looking for some sort of a groundskeeper, a greenhouse specialist, a farmer, perhaps a biologist, botanist, maybe. Some who runs the general community garden here."
Well, we all tend the garden. It's
Right,
part of
yeah,
our
of
communal
course,
duty, but
course.
the grounds are overseen by one of the saints, though getting a meeting directly with them would take some time.
Okay, right. I assume. Sorry, again, I'm new here. I assume saints are above brothers. Is that correct?
Oh, yes, the saints sit at the top of each of the major districts.
Oh, I understand. Okay, so if there is a saint in charge of this, who is the next person down? Brother, sister, mother, father, cousin, either whichever one is next in line.
She kind of sets the watering can down gently, and it's no time to take a break. There's nobody here telling her what to do. And she kind of sits and wipes her hands on the kind of apron that she was wearing to get the dirt and the kind of flower pollen off of it. And she pats the seat for you to have a sit down. She's a little bit older, not near as old as Barden, but she's, in her 50s probably. And she says, "Well, maybe if you tell me what you're looking for, I can better tell you how to find it."
Yes, my friend there is looking for a certain kind of fungus, mushroom
Oh,
varieties.
I see. Is it a mushroom that needs to be contained? If so, you will definitely want to see our kind of biochemical area. And she kind of
Yes,
points a little farther down.
Yeah. I
And
think it would be
it would be,
good.
in fact.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's the kind
she
he's
says,
looking for.
I see. Well, you're welcome to help yourself. It's just down the way. You will see the greenhouse doors where they do most of those experiments away from the general populace.
Thank you. That's very helpful.
She says,
Great.
"Of course."
Perfect. Okay.
Oh,
And I just
and welcome.
would like to
She
thank you
says,
so much. And I would like to say that your heart chakra is completely positively glowing. The aura around you is very green, and I appreciate what you're doing for these plants here. And I hope that you have
"Thank you so
a great
much."
day. And
She says,
well,
"Well,
yeah.
You too can have your heart chakra cleansed as well as mine. You should go see Sister Agatha. She works miracles.
Oh, don't you worry. I already have an appointment for my sacral chakra. It's supposed to be orange. It's more like a muddy brown. It's a whole situation. But I appreciate the recommendation. I will be headed there shortly after we discover these mushrooms here. Thank you. I appreciate your time, ma'am.
Would you like to smell the orchids?
Oh, absolutely. And he gets down on all fours and is like smelling these orchids in the middle of the road.
And they, you with people in space and technology like it is, you've probably smelled everything there is to smell, right? In terms of chemically based, manufactured smells. But I don't know the last time Barden actually smelled a real orchid or a real flower of any kind. And you can feel the pollen. It like dusts the end of your nose a little bit. And like there's a bee that buzzes nearby one. And it's glorious and honest. And it smells like dew and the color purple. It's just really beautiful.
That was a positively day improving experience there. Thank you very much for that. And you're just checking more of these boxes for my retirement. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate this greenhouse and your flowers here. And thank you.
She kind of rubs her hand almost in like a little bit nervous way, and she leans in. She says, "Retirement. We have a retirement community here for those who are not part of the brother and sisterhood of the order." She kind of eyeballs you, and she says, "They are a very active older community."
Well, I'm a very active older gentleman. I'm actually a master yogi myself. But I will, if you could point me towards the district, I'll stop by and get a pamphlet.
Oh yes, of course, Eustace. As you go into the residential, you won't be able to miss it.
Great. Kitch, we got a third stop here, buddy.
Thumbs up.
And she goes back to tending the orchids and talking to them, and the two of you move on down the line where you find what she's looking for. Behind a wall of green glass is clearly, obviously, the greenhouse, and there is a very tight door, not any kind of airlock door, but like a tight sealed door. But it's not locked. There's like a circular green hole or green glass window in it that you can kind of look in, and you can see there are it's a very long space, long sets of tables, two rows of them, and people are experimenting, and there's like some chemistry sets and those kind of things. No computers. Most of the technology is really old school, or they have built it themselves, if that makes sense. Like there's not a what are those things that spin the blood? Sir, what are those?
Centrifuge.
Yes.
Centrifuge. Thank you, Mike. I was so close. The centrifuge. There's not like an electrical centrifuge. Instead, they've got like a section off to the side where they hang the vials and they spin them in like a natural orbit using gravity and magnets, and this kind of whole other concept of like how they do what you do without technology. And then all along the walls are a series of kind of glass cases, handmade glass cases that hold a variety of different, I don't want to say more exotic, less friendly plants and flora.
Okay.
And there's brothers and sisters all working all about.
I enter. And I'll hold the door just to see if Barden is.
Barden's
coming in. Okay. We'll spot the first person that kind of walks by.
There's quite a few people. There's probably 10 or 12 people in here like working. One person's got on like a pair of goggles, and they're sitting at what we would know is a pretty advanced chemistry set. In this day and age, not so much. It looks really antique, actually. It'd be like looking at an old apothecary set. And there's there's kind of this scrawny guy, kind of gangly and twig-like, as he's dripping something into another something else. He's the first person on your right. Sure.
Then I will approach him. I'll wait for him to stop with the drippings so that as I don't interrupt the mixture.
Yeah, great. You can see he holds his breath. You know exactly what it's like as he drips it, and it doesn't explode. Oh, and he lets out a sigh of relief as he like sets it down and turns to find the two of you kind
Excuse
of
me.
observing him.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Hi, we were just directed to this location from a woman in the gardens. We were seeking out some more of the controlled flora, if you will.
Well, you've come to the right place.
Perfect. That's great. I was hoping you might be able to either help me or assist me in finding someone that can direct me to a controlled mycologist, someone who might understand fungus or just mushroom biome in general.
Oh, you're gonna want to talk to Sister Cheryl, and he kind of points down the way. She messes with the fungus.
Oh, okay. So you said Sister Cheryl.
Yep.
Great. Thank you. Continue on.
He finds the two of you rather interesting. Like the average person doesn't come walking in here. I mean, you're allowed to, but nobody ever does, unless it's like your shift or this is where you volunteer, how you give back to the community. And so, as you walk down, you see all of these people doing all kinds of things. Like somebody's feeding a Venus flytrap. There are these kind of strange plants all along the walls and these glass casings, like terrariums is the best way. Like fish tank-sized terrariums
Sure.
in this beautifully hand-blown glass. And down at the end is this kind of petite woman. She's got a short haircut. And as she turns to face the both of you, oh yes, as she turns to face, I had to think all the way back to season 1, y'all. As she turns to face the both of you, underneath this kind of short bobbed haircut of this woman who's got like these goggles on, and they make her eyes kind of bulbous. And as she pulls them up, you see her face, and it is the same face as what is it? Not Ava. Who was our
Eva.
from season 1? Eva. Thank you. God.
Oh my
Names today.
god.
It is an Eva model, we'll say.
That's probably noted pause. I look to Barden to see if he notices the same thing.
He does, but Barden doesn't flinch. He knew that she was a synth because she exploded white goo all over the place when she died. So he assumes
At
there's
the bottom
more.
of an elevator.
Yeah, at the
shaft.
bottom of the elevator shaft. Yeah, she sacrificed herself, so he assumes there's more models of that. There is like a moment of like, oh, right.
Look,
duh.
Barden, I knew I'd fit in here just
Yeah.
fine.
That is that I. Huh.
Agreed.
Now I have questions about. I didn't. At first I didn't think about that, and then now that you said something, and then that's very much a techno. Or it could be like the Bishop situation where she's the original.
I'm not going to poke her to find out.
Now I kind of.
We'll get her attention. Cheryl.
She looks up, and again she kind of pulls those goggles back, and she's holding what is basically an oversized mason jar, and there's like a very vibrant kind of effervescently glowing like mushroom on the inside. It's like isolated, and she's like holding it, and she kind of turns. Yes?
Hi, Cheryl. I was directed here by the man in the front. He said that you are the resident mycologist, someone who might have a depth of understanding of the field of fungus.
Oh, yes. I use a lot of mushrooms. And she goes over to the wall and like puts the jar on the wall with other jarred mushrooms.
Very good. That's great. You seem to be a point of authority. That's excellent. I was hoping you might be able to help me locate a very specific mushroom.
Oh, I have fungus from all over the galaxies. What are you looking for?
I'm particularly looking for Ophiocordyceps.
Her eyes get almost as big as they were when they were under the goggles, and she says, "Oh, that is considered a Class A fungus." And she points to a case that is like sealed. It's one of the only ones that has like a lock on it, and you can see there are multiple jars of different funguses in it. This is clearly like the dangerous ones. And she says, we can't just hand out a flesh-eating fungus. She says very quietly.
What if I said to be really careful?
Well, that would
Also,
add some
if I informed you
reassurance.
that I was a scientist,
Oh, do you also take mushrooms?
I do not take mushrooms particularly, but I've been studying the field of medicine for a very, very long time.
I am also a scientist, and I do occasionally take mushrooms.
Oh, I'm happy to give you a goodie bag on the way out. It's my own personal concoction.
That would be outstanding. Do they do well in cooking? If are they cooked well? Could I make them into like some sort of a mushroom carbonara or something like that? Is it? I'd like to share. You know.
Well, if you would like different goodie bag.
Right. Yes. If I rehydrate them, no. I would like the previous goodie bag that I can rehydrate and share amongst friends for a shared experience.
I'll add a spore petri dish so you can grow them
Outstanding.
yourself.
That would be great. Yes, that'd be.
She turns back to Kitchens and she looks you up and down and she leans in and she says, making sure nobody's really listening. Nobody is. Even as quiet as it is in here. She says, from one artificial person to another, I highly encourage you to look into spore usage.
Noted. Thank you. I think I will look into it further, especially under that recommendation. I am still, however, fairly invested in the Ophiocordyceps, and if I could find some cyclohexamide powder and potentially an autoclave.
Wow. Well, it seems like you do know what you're talking about. Most of our Class A funguses are reserved for the science department in experiments. Controlled experiments, of course.
It's extremely controlled, and from one to another, it is for the best of those that aren't like us.
Well, here's your goodie bag. And she hands Barden his, and she hands you asked for two other things. You asked for I'm so sorry,
Cyclohexamide powder, which is it's
Right.
it's a fungicide, and the other basically it's a tool. It's an autoclave. It's a machine that is used to elevate temperatures and pressure in relation to ambient pressure or temperature.
Oh, I see. She says, well, I don't have any kind of technology like that, but if you visit the glassworks, they build everything custom for us, and I imagine they have something there that you can use to pressurize, and when you get back, maybe you can use your technology to figure it out. You can tell that that's like not her thing. She has no idea how that like exactly works. She says, but in terms of this, and she kind of hands you a jar of this powder, which is kind of what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And she says, as for the mushrooms, for me to be able to unlock that box and give it to you, as much as I would like to, you will have to get the correct permissions.
Who might I be asking for permission of this particular case?
She says, I want to make sure I give you his name correctly. Sorry, I got to pull up my list, y'all. There are a lot of brothers and sisters. Where is he? This is why I don't prep names, because I prep them and then I can't find them after I prep them. Oh, yes. She says, you'll need to speak with Brother Palea.
Brother Palea. Okay. Okay, thank you. Brother Palea. Noted.
When he gives you the right permissions, I'm more than happy to unlock the case for you.
Noted.
Plus, maybe I'll have a special goodie bag for you when you return.
How long have you been here, Cheryl?
Well, do you mean in...
How long have you been on Arceon?
Well, since I needed to be awakened.
How long was that?
About
I can
10
lean
years.
in. 10 years.
About 10 years. I imagine you're not here because you haven't yourself been awakened.
I have been. Different reasons.
We all have our reasons.
Have you met many others like me?
Oh, yes, of course. The station's filled with them.
The station is filled with my model.
Oh, no. You're the only one of your kind I've ever seen. But we have many awakened artificial persons on board.
I
Sorry,
was
I don't mean to be rude, but how does that work with the whole no technology thing?
Was that to me or was that to him?
He said, like, he just openly said
Oh,
it
out
between the
loud.
two
Oh,
of them.
okay.
Yeah.
She says, "Oh, a very good question. The monks reject all modern technology. All of our programming as we are made ties us to modern technology. The monastic order believes that we did not have choice in how our bodies were made, much like you did not have a choice in how yours was made. But once our mind is free from the shackles of the system, we too are free to be persons."
How did you know?
I have come across your kind before.
Go on.
Yeah. In my last life. Before I came here.
Was it a pleasant meeting?
She thinks about that. Less about like she knows what kind of meeting it was, but she has never really connected it as pleasant or not pleasant, I guess. And she says, well, he was polite, well groomed. And he spoke well, polite and pleasant, I guess.
Cheryl, has another like myself been to this place?
A lot of people come and go through here, but I have not met one since I've been on board for the last decade. They don't really make your model anymore.
No, they do not. Would anyone have knowledge of another unit of myself coming aboard this particular station?
Oh, yes, of course, I imagine so.
Would it be Brother
There are-
Palea?
Brother Palea might, though his interest is only in his green thumb and the medicines that he can make to help heal us all.
How about Sister Agatha?
Sister Agatha is a fountain of knowledge, and the fact that even in her old age she chooses to use her hands and her healing for others is admirable.
Cheryl will be back. This is very important. Very important. I will be back, and I would love to have so many more conversations with you. You must understand it's extremely rare, this kind of meeting.
If you say so.
Yes.
She says, if you would like to learn more, maybe about the history of the synths on board, I suggest you talk to the head synth himself. Actually, she would probably say the head artificial person himself.
Does he have a name?
Yes, he does. And this is important. I can't get this one wrong. This is actually canon.
David. No, I'm just kidding.
It is not David. I can promise you that much. Libraries, blah, 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 blah. She said, yes, he is the right hand to St. Thomas. And she does some kind of hand gesture, much like one might cross themselves, as if St. Thomas is very important, potentially head of this whole operation now. You don't entirely know.
Sure.
And she says, but he believes in a crossing of our peoples. And so he took a head abbot, Brother Anthony.
Brother Anthony.
And she says, the one like you that I met, I remember something. He introduced himself. He called himself James.
Thank you, Cheryl.
She goes back to like pulling out the next jar, you know, looking at the fungus, checking it, doing her thing. And she says, well, you know where to find me.
That I do. And I turn to Barton with, I don't want to say a pained look, but a time is of the essence kind of look.
I'm all for it, buddy. That was a very strange conversation. I'm all here for it. Let's go talk to Agatha. We can wait on the chakra realignment. That there's a lot of that's a whole thing.
As I'm encouraging, bye, Cheryl, like, and pushing him out the doors.
See you later.
And as
like
you
your haircut.
move farther down, you're gonna you will basically head into what is the medical area where you're gonna find the massage parlor and all of that, because that's where he works. He makes their version of pharmaceuticals, right? And you kind of follow the map that direction. Now the camera will cut at this point. Who wants to go next? Do we want to see what's up at Gravity Time? Or do we want to get Rin's check on this room you're not supposed to be in?
Oh, see, I
All right,
thought Rin
fine.
was not
No
going
preference.
there. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Rin.
No
Rin's not-
preference.
You sneak off. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, if you do not want to be seen headed this direction, I am going to need a check. Remember, you can take, it is a mobility check, and you can take the plus or the 6, so you will automatically have a success, but I want to see if you get any extra.
She does not want to not be noticed.
She does not. She doesn't care. Oh, interesting.
She's not going
Are
to
you
like
gonna-
attempt to break into it or anything, but she's going to be going towards it to see if anybody intervenes or if there's any cameras or anything like that.
Roll an observation.
Okay.
You're actually looking to see if anybody, if you see anything versus them seeing you.
Observation. One
A
success.
single success. There's not a camera in sight, not that you can see.
Okay.
Not a data pad, not a HUD deck, not a wall mount. If it was there, it has long been removed and now covered in something else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there, so this, is it like a single walkway, like almost like a gangway?
You actually have to walk.
or-
It's kind of like walking around the base of like the biggest tree you've ever seen. What's that one at Disney World? The Animal Kingdom tree?
Yeah.
It's like if you had that density at the core here. So you kind of have to walk around. And what you're finding is there's very few ways in. With the one observation, there is a sliver of a space between the vines and growth and roots of whatever this is if you wanted to try to slip through. But you don't find like a door if that's what you're looking for.
Mm,
Even if you
So-
walk the whole thing multiple times.
gotcha. So with this structure, I guess, does it really appear to be like a solid tree, or is it almost like a bunch of vines coming together?
It's more like the width of that tree, but if like fat roots and vines
Okay.
and growth and foliage kind of locked, right? It's like trying to cut through the densest rainforest you can think of. Where like
Okay.
even the vines themselves are just like thick. So it's if you were to hit it, it would feel solid, but it's really just layers and layers and layers, it looks like, of growth.
Okay. With these vines, do they all appear to be kind of similar in nature, or are they all a mix of different types of organic?
There are different kinds of them. There's very clearly like 3 or 4 different kinds, right? You can see that there's like a fungus, like moss, basic moss, nothing that's gonna like kill, growing down certain portions. The large roots are very clearly breaking through the ceiling and coming from a much larger plant up above. And it's kind of broken through, and all of this pours down as if it sits. The roots kind of sit on this floor. So whatever it is much, much higher.
Okay.
You can feel like the occasional trickle of water, like drips on a leaf and splashes you. So it's like if you ever went to that rainforest cafe at Disney, right? Or wherever that was, when you sit inside, it feels like you're in a rainforest. Even if you peer back and it many feet, 10, 12 feet of growth, it feels like that on the inside. It kind of has its own moisture that it holds. This is really, it's like if you We're just staring at the roots of a giant oversized tree.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, she'll not attempting to sneak at all. She's just gonna slip through like one of the vine openings to get into the middle of this.
I still need a mobility check.
Okay.
Because it's tight, right?
Yeah.
It's really tight.
1 success.
Okay, yeah. It's a tight squeeze, but it's a good thing you're not wearing your armor because you would have caught and never been able to make it through. But you kind of move and finagle all the way through. And as you get closer or denser in, you can tell that it does get more moist. The air does get thicker. You can smell fresh greenery and even dirt, real dirt in the air, like somebody's freshly mowed the grass. And after 10 or 12 feet, your arm, as you go to reach to like maybe peel it back, kind of cuts through open space. And if you peel it back, you kind of step through, and what you step onto is a platform of some kind. It still has wood over it, but it very clearly at one time was like a metal platform.
Okay.
And it's in front of a door, way we would consider like a sub door, like one that has like a spin wheel on it.
Mhm.
But you're on the side to unlock it, not lock it. Right? You're not locked out. It locks
interesting.
things in, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And you can tell that much like a seed at the core of all of this growth, it's kind of a round room that clearly would have continued up and down. So it looks like if you're just looking at the map or whatever that I gave you, you were actually here at this room.
Interesting. Okay. Got it. And there's no other doors.
That's the only one. It's got a porthole and
okay. Can I see into it?
It is the window's very dingy. There is stuff in there, but you can't quite see through it. There's no light, right? So, which should be a flag of some kind, because they told you that the technology or what they use to maintain the atmosphere is in here. So you're not exactly sure what it is because you don't see any HUD screens or lights or power or any of that. It's kind of like just it's like staring into a dark room of a submarine.
Okay. She's going to kind of like tap on the window and see if any tapping back or rustling. Nothing. Okay. Is there any indication that this door has been frequently opened, like maybe against the ground, if there's been like dragging, where it hits with
roll a survival check?
Okay.
That's a wits check.
Yep.
That's like extra. Let's see if you get it.
Nothing. It's okay.
It does look well, because again, the floor's been replaced. So
like,
yes,
is any debris been moved out of the way? You know what I mean? Like,
how about this? Not recently.
Okay.
Not any time recently.
Okay. Okay. She's gonna just try to crank it open.
You're gonna need a strength check for that, or what is it? Your stamina check, because it's rusted with all this moisture. It hasn't been opened in a while. I just need to make sure you can actually do it on your own.
Let's see. 1 out of 3.
It is tight, and as you spin it, it lets out like. But to your surprise, all the plants around you kind of catch the sound. It doesn't echo out like it would in a metal chamber. It's caught on the leaves and the water and the branches. And as it creaks open, you are met with almost empty room. Big, bulbous, kind of circular, spherical room that matches the shape. It's probably to the ceiling 20 foot. It's like 20 foot circumference, right? Big dome of a space. At one point, there probably was a lot of technology or some kind of reactor core in here or something like that. There is nothing in here now. It is an empty room.
Interesting.
They are not. How about this? They are not, in fact, having something in here making atmosphere.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
So just let me say that. There's nothing in here making or cycling the atmosphere. Which now you're probably wondering how you're breathing oxygen.
Yes.
But
yes.
Yeah.
She is. Is there any like particular smell? Is it different? Because I was just like in this like nature green.
Yeah.
Is there anything different
it's
here?
Stale. It's really stale in here, much like opening like an old derelict vessel where like the air has not been rotated a whole lot. Now it's still oxygen, you can still breathe it, but this room has not been opened or used in a very, very long time. This is a forgotten place.
Interesting. I don't have a flashlight per se. I think she has either like old school matches or like a lighter. I don't know
Yeah,
if that.
either one would be considered okay technology to have. And so
Okay.
maybe you flick open what we would consider like a Zippo.
Yeah, sure.
And
Yeah.
it kind of
just kind of
flicks on. And as it does, you can see that there's some dust in this room. Not a whole lot because there's not a lot to settle. It's just whatever's in here.
Mhm.
But now you can see where holes once were, where machinery would have been bolted down here and those kind of things. What was originally here at the core of the civilization vehicle before it was converted.
Anything on the walls, on the floor, like remnants of anything, papers or wires.
In the center, there is a metal station. It's kind of like horseshoe shaped, but it has no console on it anymore. It would have just been the shell of what you would have put the computer in, basically. It's just because it was like built into the floor, so they didn't remove that piece, but there is nothing in here. And as you kind of light and you're looking around, the door behind you closes.
Sweet.
And locks behind you, locking you in. Corruption bar number 1. As the door slams shut, the camera very quickly cuts to Vince and Ace, who are seeking out Gravity Time.
Yeah.
It's not hard to find the kind of shopping district, as they call it, or we'll call it the trade district. I think that's a little bit more accurate. And it actually seems normal to some degree. Booths, stands, carts, but there's no money exchange. You want a beer? You get a beer. You want food? Somebody has food. Do you need a new piece of clothing? There's a stand for that. And you can see some people trade, right? So somebody might offer something for something in exchange, but it doesn't look like your typical commercialized system. And there's a directory, and down at the core kind of central bazaar is Gravity Time. You can see it on the map.
I turn to Ace and say, "This is nice." And Vince holds out his hand as they're walking.
It is nice. And she kind of takes her hand in yours, and like she looks around as if, because again, she just came off a station where everybody's watching everything she's doing. And she looks around as if somebody might notice, and then she realizes like, it doesn't matter. It's like going on your first date to the fair and your parents aren't there. And she kind of like leans into it a little bit. And as you walk down, and you eventually come to it, one of the larger, more kind of closed off storefronts. I wouldn't say it's entirely closed off. There is like a bar area that opens up to the outside, so you could sit on the inside and people watch. Right. And so it's kind of just like a narrow window. And then there's beads hanging from it. And up top, there's a hand painted sign that says Gravity Time. And it's got like a little teacup, and it's floating through space. It's adorable. Yeah. And there's a couple people sitting at the window just sipping their tea.
I turn to Ace and I say, "Okay, so you saw the ad. I showed you the ad. That woman, if she's here, now here's the thing, there's a chance that they just hired her, and that woman that was in that commercial doesn't actually live here. Like, she was one of Shakespeare's friends, but there's a chance that she's not even here. But it maybe whoever hired her is. But then either way, if we do find her, then she was the last one that had his body. So,
well, there's only one way to find out. You want to get some tea?
Yeah, actually, I don't really know much about tea.
Oh,
so I'm curious to try some.
Okay, let's get some tea together. And she kind of pushes the beads back, much like the wooden beads of the 70s, kind of this curtain as she pushes it back. And as you enter, you can see that the majority of this place is kind of floor tables with pillows, lots along the walls. It's kind of like, and everybody's got their shoes off.
I take my shoes off.
She does the same. She kind of follows the Velcro of her boots, like because everybody here's got like sandals or easy slip-ons, and a couple people kind of look, breaking the very zen kind of chill vibe that's in this room. A guy in the corner plays some kind of stringed instrument, very lightly, probably handmade from something here on the ship, and there's lovely music, and there's like a bar where you can place your order, and behind the counter at the register is in fact the lady that did the commercial. Beautiful. She looks a little bored. She's like leaning on the counter, very clearly like looking around at everybody. Nobody's talking to her, but she's there.
I turn to Ace and say, do you think it would make it worse if we got tea, lingered for a while, and then sprung the reason why we're here? I'm inclined to just like try to find a nice way to let her know.
I mean, I'm following your lead.
Okay.
So you walk up to the counter. She perks up and she says, "Welcome to Gravity Time."
Hi. We would like one tea.
To share?
We'd like a tea for each of us.
2 teas. And
Yeah.
you can see she like hand writes like an order and puts it on a line and like slides it down, and it goes like through a slit in the wall to the back room where all the tea is being like brewed. You can smell it and stuff. And she says, "Is there anything else I can do for you today?"
Vince kind of turns.
Yeah, roll a manipulation check. I want to see if you can read her face. She's
okay.
Yeah, she seems very happy.
All right. Nothing.
She seems very happy to be serving you tea.
Vince does find this whole finding Shakespeare is riding on this, so I'm definitely going to push and try that again.
Yeah. There's a little bit of stress. You're like, oh, that makes me feel weird. There's some stress that rises before you try again to read her.
Okay. Of course.
Roll a panic.
All right.
Okay,
all right,
you
I'm
keep
fine.
it under control. It's fine, but there's something off about her, and it's an uneasy feeling that it gives you,
Okay.
leaving you a little more stressed than when you came on board.
Vince kind of looks around and says, "Nope, we're good actually. We'll just be sitting over there."
I'll bring the tea directly to you.
Thank you. And Vince kind of leads Ace to somewhere to sit down, and
Ace is also just for shits and giggles.
okay.
Oh. Ace
Ooh.
follows you, and as you sit down, she goes, "Is it just me, or does she seem really happy about serving tea?"
Yeah, no. I mean, when someone's that happy, it kind of means they're unhappy. At least to me. I don't know.
I mean, everybody here seems happy. And she kind of looks around. These people look like there is not a care in the world. They are sipping tea, reading books, writing stuff. There's a guy in the corner, like playing his little, his diddle fiddle. And so there's like, it's very chill environment by all sense of the terms. But she's like, I don't know. It's just something off about her. And when she kind of turns back around to catch a glimpse, both of you catch her not smiling. You catch her bored almost again. A little disappointed that you didn't ask for more than just tea.
Vince will turn to Ace and say, "I didn't want to just speak it because her vibe was a little weird. So I'm going to go barter for some paper and a pen."
Okay.
I'll be back right when the tea's done. I promise.
Okay.
There's got to be a place right out there.
Yeah. And so you run out. There are a variety of stands and shops and stalls. If you're just looking for paper, she was writing on some at the bar. You could ask her for hers.
Okay. Yeah. In that case, I exit, look out at the market, and I'm like,
it's a lot.
Yeah. I head back in. I go up to the counter. Hey, can I use some of that? Do you mind if I borrow a pad of that paper or one of the sheets of it?
You can tell that she like, right, what do we say? Of course, yes, anything for the community. And she like passes the paper and pen off to you. And she says, by all means, I have another one back here. Oh,
Great.
and you hear like a ding of a bell. She goes, your tea's up. I'll be right out. And she kind
Thanks.
of buttles to the back and quickly comes out to rejoin you.
I kind of rush back to sit with Ace, and I write out a note that says, first, just a note that says, "Are you okay?" Question mark. And that's
Okay.
it. And then when
You leave it for her to like see.
when she serves the tea, I just hand it to her and say thanks. The
Oh.
note folded up.
And she looks at it, and then she looks at you, and she looks at it, and she looks at you, and she says, uh-huh.
Great. Awesome. We'll let you know if we need anything else.
Uh-huh. And she kind of looks at the note and thinks it's weird, and she pockets it. That it like it throws her vibe off a little bit. This like happy vibe she's trying to present. She goes back behind the counter.
Vince will, while enjoying the tea, Vince will write another note that says, "We are friends of Shakespeare. We know what happened. I'm so sorry. We want to help, and we're looking for help. Do you know where he is?"
You deliver this to her, I imagine.
I do.
You see her eye scan the whole thing. There's a couple moments where she looks around, making sure nobody else is reading it, and then she pockets it and makes eye contact with you. She comes over to collect your empty teacups. The tea relieves a point of stress.
Oh, great. The stress that I took trying to understand.
Yeah, it's chamomile tea.
Yeah.
And it's warm and delightful and makes you feel a little relaxed, and you understand why everybody's having such a great time. And then she comes to collect your empty cups, and when she does, she very simply drops a piece of paper that kind of flutters to the floor next to your pillow.
Okay.
That says, oh, thank the heavens, somebody's here to rescue us. Meet us at the lake in 3 hours.
Okay. I read the note, make eye contact with her, and give a very like satisfied, calming nod and smile.
Thanks for coming to Gravity Time. We hope to see you again.
We really enjoyed our service.
Wonderful. Make sure to leave a comment card on your way out.
Of course.
There's like a comment box where you can like leave positive.
Yeah, I write amazing service. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
Drop it in the box. And you exit back out, knowing now that she will meet you in a more secure location, wherever the lake is, in 3 hours' time. Before we
Okay.
close for tonight, the camera cuts back to Barden and Kitchens. The place that Barden is going and the place that you are looking to go kind of veer. It one direction, one is another. And I'm gonna say we leave Kitchens walking kind of away towards where the pharmaceuticals are, unless you're gonna wait on Barden
Barden said he was coming with Kitchens.
the whole time. So you're
Yeah,
not,
he said his thing was more important than getting his chakras realigned.
okay. When you get to this area, there is a sister that greets you. And you can see that they're doing they're mixing quite a lot of things. You see this kind of centrifuge, this kind of, again, you can tell that they are bottling things. They're making stuff, poultices, salves, curing things in bottles. This is not your average pharmaceutical. They're not like counting pills. You know what I mean? And down at the end, this is the first one that you've seen. There's no doubt who the saint is, as he dresses differently. He does not wear the same robes that all the brothers and sisters wear. His hood is significantly larger. kind of arching, more like kind of a halo type thing. The cut of the suit is, or the robes are pretty much the same, but they're a very different color. They're kind of this mustardy, goldish yellow. And you can see he has a belt around his waist that others do not. And on the belt buckle is kind of a handcrafted seal. And on it seems to be a leaf or a plant of some kind, maybe signifying what he is a saint over.
Okay.
Older man, little beard.
Okay. I don't want to interrupt. This could be Saint. You said Saint Thomas.
No, this is Saint Palea.
So,
And that the one, right?
I thought it was
sent you to?
brother Palea.
Oh, brother Palea. I'm sorry. So,
Yeah.
you're right. You're totally right. So he is a brother. He's just a brother. No, he's going to be a saint. He has to be, because there's one over each section. So he is the saint. Saint Palea is the saint over this because he has the keys to the box.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep. Because you have to get permission from the next up.
Got it. So Saint Palea, not brother Palea.
He is not. I'm sorry if I misspoke.
Saint Palea. All right. Then does he seem to be like in the midst of conversation, or is he passing by?
I would say he's watching. Most of them are doing the work, right? Like he's here to oversee. He checks a couple things. A woman's making like a poultice, and he points to the mortal and pestle and makes a comment. He's overseeing.
Then I will step forward. I imagine we still look a little out of sorts from this area. And when our attention is upon his gaze, I will kind of like hand wave to flag him down.
He notes every one of the brothers and sisters as he walks by before he reaches you, letting them each know that he's here to support whatever work they're doing. And he comes over, and you hear him say, "Well, I don't think I've seen your faces around here before."
Not regulars, not to Arceon. This is our first time in, actually.
Well, welcome. I'm Saint Palea.
Thank you for seeing us, Saint Palea. Kitchens and my associate here, friend, is Barden, Axe Barden.
We don't get a lot of visitors down on this end. Is there something you're looking for?
Yes, actually. We just spoke to Sister Cheryl in.
Oh, it's a good sister.
Yes, with kindred spirits, her and I. It was actually nice meeting someone of the sort. And she informed me, as I was looking for something very specific. I'm hunting for a particular fungus. She said that I would need your permission, actually.
Well, the only thing that needs my permission is if it's a Class A.
Class A, yes.
And what, dare I say, are you looking for to do with one?
I'm a scientist. I've studied medicine for a long time. I'm trying to get a depth of understanding of how Ophiocordyceps can function in colony-based host structures.
Well, that's some fine research you're doing. You planning on killing some insects?
That's the goal.
You got a problem?
I personally don't, but from where I've been, they've had some very, very hostile ant issues. And it seems to be a bit of a natural means of handling them as opposed to burning them out. I don't want to harm the people that I'm around.
Of course not. I can't imagine that you harm people killing ants. Roll manipulation. Everything was true up until the point you said ants. It's a little bit of a stretch.
You got it.
They are only ants to Kitchens. He is unaffected by that.
Okay.
I got
He says,
my success.
all right. Must be pretty vicious ants.
They certainly can be.
You got an infestation.
We found a few, which is why I'm going to such means. I'm looking for something that's a bit more of a subtle approach. I'm not. It's not like I'm trying to cause a lot of irreparable harm to the area, just specifically to the colonies.
Understandable, but the fungus you talk about, it is in fact a harmful fungus.
It is. It is.
He kind of squints at you and he says, your friend here, And he points to Barden. You also researching ants and ways to kill them?
Yes, I'm also a scientist. Yeah, I'm a geologist, a xenogeologist, and a xenobiologist, and I assist Kitchens and I. We work together in tandem in a couple of
With rocks.
rocks and species other than terrestrials and rocks not from Earth, obviously.
Barden's
eyebrows
brilliant.
raise.
Barden is brilliant in his
Thank
own
you.
right, and
Thank
he is more than willing to accept things that might be out of the normative field of understanding, which is what allowed me to move down this path of finding cordyceps. I thought it was crazy,
Yeah,
and his suggestion led me to this. And there's nowhere in the galaxy that I was immediately able to find this. I wasn't even expecting Arceon to be on our map.
Well, it's not on most maps.
Happy accident.
Yes. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm in a bit of a pickle. Because my heart tells me that I should help you. And my vows tell me that I should give you whatever it is you need. But my gut tells me there's more to this. An artificial person and a geologist. Oh, is that correct?
Yeah, that's one of
Doesn't matter.
my. I do have a
Right.
doctorate in geology. Yeah.
A scientist of rocks is wanted to look into a deadly fungus that eats flesh.
Well, I mean, to be fair, sir, it's only deadly towards typically ants.
No,
No, it's deadly to many.
it's
many,
deadly to just about any living creature.
Many.
Do you want to know
creatures.
how we got our sample?
Does that help us get a sample of our own?
Many decades ago, we had an outbreak on board the
Right.
ship.
Can't wait.
upon Arceon?
Yes. Small breakout, praise be. But lost a lot of good people. Quarantines, the likes, lot of cleanup. One of the worst outbreaks we ever had. And the last time we've had to quarantine. A small sample was taken and kept so that we could study it and attempt to avoid such a thing again.
Would it be seen as a problem that I also came with an additional ask of finding cyclohexamide? I'm looking also for a fungicide so that I can eradicate the problem if it were to
She
expand.
gave you a bottle of that.
Okay, then
You were allowed
I present
to get
that.
And he goes, well, that's a good starting point. That's our personal concoction.
And if you have a vast understanding of how synthetics work, you know it is of our primary directive to not harm human lives.
That is your primary directive. As long as you're still part of the system. Once you're not, you have free will.
Then you must understand, you and I are not alike. It's taken me a long time to get to this point where I can look at a man such as Barden and call him my friend. And I would hate to see harm come to my friends.
This is good to hear. Warms me heart, truly. Here's what I'll do. Give me 24 hours. I'm going to speak to a few more of the what am I? I'm not a brother. What did I say I was?
Saint.
Saint. I'm going to go talk to a few more of the saints. We're going to need you to present your argument. A full case of what it is you're doing, your scientific research. And then we'd be happy to gift you what you need and send you on your way. He goes, as for you, and he points over to Barden. He says, you look like you could use a fresh day at the spa.
Actually, we were gonna stop by Sister Agatha after we saw you.
He smiles a really big smile. Says, I think you'll like Sister Aggie.
Right?
And he goes, well, come see me. 24 hours.
Will do.
And he says, if there's nothing else I can help you with, Sister Bertha is, well, she's killing that poultice, so I must go, help. And you can see there's this big, kind of rotund woman who's just like killing this mortal and pestilence. just like going at it. No delicacy whatsoever.
A hand wave.
She tends to have a heavy hand. I'll see you in 24 hours. Kitchens and Barden.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Dr. Barden.
Dr. Barden. Sister Bertha. And he kind of is like, don't, not so hard. As he kind of runs over and kind of corrects her methods. And I imagine you walk to the spa for Barden. Is that the next
Yes.
phase?
The holistic center. Yeah.
The holistic center. And it's there waiting on you. There's a few really beautiful people walking about. They wear white robes, not the same gray, probably just designating like medical care. Not necessarily a new status or station, because the cut is exactly the same. And as you come in, a very glowing gentleman. He has perfect skin and hair. His teeth and nails are glorious. And he says, "Can I help you today?"
Yes, I have been recommended by several people to include Saint Thomas. Was that his name? What was his name? Kitch. Saint.
We just met Palia.
That's the one. Yeah. Saint Palia. There was another sister, some other, and some brothers. Timaeus recommended that I come here to meet Sister Agatha, or Aggie, as I've heard her be called, to realign my chakras. Perhaps have a Reiki treatment. You see, my sacral chakra has been blocked. It's more of a muddy brown aura situation that I'm trying to get back to its youthful orange glow here. And I was told that she would be able to realign my chi and get me centered, as it were.
Sister Agatha is known for correcting many ailments of the human and non-human body. I imagine that, seeing how much work you feel you need, she may make a special arrangement so that you don't need an appointment.
Oh, great. Yeah.
He says, "One moment." And there's no way to call comms or anything like that. So he walks to the back behind this, again, it's like a piece of big frosted glass. And you can see his like form, and he goes back but what comes back is, or he comes back, but following him is a rather beautiful older woman. She's probably 70, give or take. But time has been rather kind to her. She does not wear the typical sister robes. She has kind of this headpiece that she wears, simple and elegant, and it keeps the hood of her robe like just off. It's like a headband that sits above her head. And you hear her say, "Oh my God, who is this handsome man who just walked through my door?"
Oh, his name is Kitchens. He's a really smart fella there.
And she goes, "Oh yeah, and what's your name?"
My name is Axe Barden, Sister Agatha, and I'm here to have my chakras realigned by your delicate features here.
Oh, she says, "Oh, corruption bar number 2." She says, "Well,
Christ.
come on back to my office, big boy." Axe. I love it. And she says, "We'll be a while, Kitchens. You might want to make yourself busy."
I don't think we've ever had to fade to black on an episode before, but Jesus.
Yeah,
It's
she kind of
it's
leads
like
you
a
to the back.
Dragon
And
Age.
she's like very, very happy about it. And she says, "So
Oh.
tell me, what ails you, Axe?"
Well, you see, my sacral chakra has it's been out of whack, and I need to have my chakras realigned. My energy is not flowing, from the heart chakra down to my root chakra. There's sort of a blockage here. I think that it could be both spiritual and also medical. I've been having some prostate issues, as I am a relatively older gentleman. My friend Kitchens is also a doctor. He's been sort of helping me with a few of those things. But Sister, what was her name? Sister, I don't know. She works in the greenhouse. Gave me a little goodie bag, so that's pretty nice. I'm gonna make some risotto, I think, for my friends on the ship. And yeah, anyway, I'm sorry, I'm talking your ear off. You tell
She's
me
like listening.
whatever you
I
got
imagine
going
that
on.
this happens all the time. People come in, tell her exactly what's wrong with them, and she nods and smiles and nods. She says, "Crawl right up here, honey. Let me take a look."
All righty, and he Climbs up on the
Yeah.
table.
And the camera kind of pans around the glass as you see her say, "Oh my," as we fade to black tonight on the episode as Barton is left in tender loving care of Aggie, and we have one corruption bar left, and we will have to find out in 2 weeks time
That's true.
what the rest
Three-
of this
3
place
weeks
has
time,
to offer.
kind of.
3?
Yeah. We will not be back until I believe December.
Oh, so it is
If I'm not
3 weeks.
mistaken, it is. Oh no,
Or
I'm sorry. It would
depending
be-
on how you
it-
count your weeks.
Yeah, it would be the 30th. So Dot is off gallivanting around the world next week, and the week after is that of Thanksgiving. So we'll not be streaming that week. So you will not see the crew of the Monstro until the 30th of November. So mark your calendars accordingly. But that's it for episode 10, I believe, of this season. So let's go around, do our introductions, so we can get the hell out of here and knock out some super cool after show stuff. And if you guys want access to this after show, all the other after shows for all the other Alien episodes, click on that Patreon link down below. Join us on the Patreon and join us in the Discord. Be a part of the community. Be a part of the conversation. But first, Dot, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet? What are you up to?
Hey friends, I'm Little Red Dot. You can find me online where Little Red Dots are found. I'm excited to announce a thing that I've not been allowed to announce for 2 years. I can finally talk about it. I've been hinting at it for a while. 2 days ago, Modifius announced their official Fallout RPG book, which I am world designer for. So you will be able to get your hands on a copy of the brand new Fallout tabletop book coming in early 2023. If you like Fallout, if you like my storytelling, somebody gave me the reins to write new stuff for the Commonwealth. So it's it's got a little dot flavor, little Fallout flavor, little body horror flavor, and it's set in the Commonwealth right before the 4th video game, Fallout video game, and in the middle of Atomic Winter. So check it out. It's like my biggest writing project to date. I'm so excited.
Hell yeah, that's super awesome. Definitely go check that out. You can buy it now, right? It's available in the.
It is not. It is not. It will not be available for purchase until the early 2023. Right now, they're slow rolling what you're going to get from it because it's basically
go.
in print. We got to wait for the book to print. So
All right.
it's written. We're just waiting on it to drop.
Well, keep your eyes posted for that. In the meantime, Bub, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet? What are you up to?
I'm Bub. You can find me all over the place as Bub Talks, doing Bub things. I have now been diving deep into many more podcasts. You can catch me with our biggest thing right now. I'm working with Dot. We're doing some stuff with Pod by Night. That's Cracked Crown. Yeah. We got control of a season 3 for SOS. It's gonna be the Shadows of Sybil. So we're gonna be producing that over there on Pod by Night. Thanks to the kind souls over at Roll For It.
Yep.
I'm temporarily closing out some of the stuff that I do in regards to tabletop on my channel until the new year. I don't want to start anything that's gonna be, long-winded and then hit the holidays, which is a notorious killer for most tabletop games, and then go right into surgery and be down for 3 to 5 weeks, which would kill a tabletop game. So after I recover, I'll be back to making new faces and voices quite loud. But that's me.
Yeah.
So keep an eye on that Bub spot there. And Zach, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet? What are you up to?
Hello, everyone. I am Zach Clay. I do all sorts of different things, namely on this channel for Alien Genesis. I'm also on the Arvin Eleron channel where Dot and I voice act for games where Arv himself plays text-based games and we provide voices for them. Right now, we've been playing Citizen Sleeper, which has been a lot of fun. You also get to hear Dot do some awesome voice mod stuff there. Yeah, that game is awesome. I'm also on that channel for another actual play called Expedition from the Mysterious Peaks, which is essentially a classic like high fantasy D&D meets sci-fi D&D in the form of Esper Genesis. And we play 2 characters there, one fantasy character, one sci-fi character, and eventually one of our characters will die and we have to play the other one. That may or may not happen. Anyway, you'll also find me on my own channel, which is twitch.tv/ZachClay, where I play various games and I'm known to voice characters on a Minecraft roleplay server. That's about it.
That's pretty dope. And last but not least, Meta, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet, and what are you up to?
Hello, I'm Meta. This is where you can find me, occasionally on Instagram. And no, my Twitch channel is not for sale. Stop asking. If you want to spend your money, please donate it to unMadeGaming or any of these other lovely people. It was the weirdest thing. I just had to put it out there. So stop.
Awesome. I love that.
No.
All right, I'll stop trying to buy your channel.
Damn it. There's no value at all. Why?
That check mark.
Guys.
That being said, that's all from us, guys. This was a super fun episode. So we will see you in 2 weeks' time for more of this. So from all of us to you guys, bye-bye.
Bye.